thank you, everybody. Just reminding, we're going to talk of the unleashing creative potential, the journey of talent to the marketplace. So first, go first. Margot, maybe you want to introduce yourself and what is Top Talent?
Yes, of course. So I'm Margot Miller, all the way from Canada today, and I am the Global Director of Community for TopTal. TopTal is the world's largest professional, fully remote talent marketplace. So we have talent in over 80 countries around the world, thousands and thousands of people who are experts in development, in design, which of course we'll talk about today, because we're talking a lot about creativity, so lots of designers, as well as product and project managers, and some finance experts as well. And so we put them out to our clients to support them to be innovative and move really quickly with our on-demand talent from our network.
Good, thank you. Jorge, what about Canva? How can you explain a little bit of it?
So Jorge Vestad, I'm originally from Madrid, actually, and Canva is a platform that helps people communicate visually. We believe that everybody should be empowered to design, and we do so through a very easy-to-use tool. We have 150 million monthly active users in the platform right now, and 1 out of 10 people in Spain are using Canva today. When it comes to enabling talent, it's one of the things that we say. We have to make the tools very easy and help people communicate wherever and however they want to communicate.
Good, thank you. In my case, I'm representing Hotmart. Hotmart is an all-in-one platform. It's a platform where all solutions are available for those people who are in the will to host their content, distribute their content, and they also can sell it not only in Spain. Hotmart is a worldwide solution. We are selling products in 188 countries. We have more than 85 millions of digital products, mainly online courses, ebooks, podcasts. So mostly it's a solution for those people who have a talent and they want to start monetizing as well their talent with several solutions that we can provide. So if you want, we can start with our discussion on how this talent is brought to the marketplace. And the first thing I wanted to ask to each of you is how your company is contributing to the development of the talent and the creating of the content. You can start, Jorge.
Sure. So Canva is essentially a content creation tool. We started about 10 years ago. It was started in Australia by Melanie Perkins and Cliff Obrecht. And they had the idea that there are tools that are inaccessible to 99% of the population, which are things like Adobe and Photoshop, which are very, very difficult, right? The most important thing that somebody can do when they have a great idea is how they communicate it, both internally or externally. So they said, let's grab these very difficult tools, let's make it very, 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 very easy, right? So I think probably the hardest thing a company can do is hire the right people, ramp them up, and make them very, very, very productive, and grab the brilliant idea that they have and put them on somewhere where they can share them. If you do not provide the right tools, you are basically handicapping them, right? So we believe Canva is one of those tools that is enabling talent and getting people to, for the first time, communicate in a way that they did not know possible.
Okay. In case of Hotmart, the way we want to contribute is there are different stages. On the first thing we do is a lot of effort to create awareness to people who are already creating content, most of them just having a monetization of it with their YouTube channel or whatever. And, but they already have a good community demanding for more content to be created, to be consumed. So we make awareness to them in order to know that there are other solutions in where they can give this additional value to their communities or to their audiences. So first thing we do is to be the motor of the ones letting them know that there are other solutions in the way they can monetize these audiences they have. So a part of that, Hotmart, what is made for is to have in a single place all the solutions, technical solutions that they are going to need starting for the creation of the content, they can allocate the videos, the podcasts, the downloadable files, whatever, in a very sensitive way. They can also create the landing pages they want to use as a funnel in order to bring the audience from the awareness to the lead to finally a consumer, which is actually a student, not a buyer for them. It's a buyer, but for them it's going to be a student. And they also have the possibility to distribute this content worldwide. So most of the work we do is not only based in marketing or sales and so on. We believe that it's part of our philosophy to let the people know that they can explore this potential, that there is opportunity for them to make business with the knowledge they already have, and it doesn't matter if it is how to grow plants, how to invest in crypto, how to, I don't know, write a book, or how to speak in public, for instance, no? So it's we believe that there's a lot of people who has a lot of things to say or to share, and they need to know where they can do it and how they can do it. So our philosophy is to make them easier things for them.
Yeah. For us, it's a bit of a different angle, right? Because we're not a content creation platform or a content hosting platform. We are, in effect, a talent marketplace and a very highly vetted one. So there's lots of screening for talent to get into our marketplace. It's not kind of a public showcase. So in that case, for us, we have, like I was saying before, these amazing designers and many other skilled people, but we're talking about kind of that content creation side. So I'll stick with designer as my example today. But we have these amazing designers. And so we're not specifying the creative tools that we ask them to use. But we are putting them in a position to kind of be the most creative with their skills that they can be, because we're not limiting that tool choice, although you have a good point of making sure it's clear that they can use certain ones. We do have, of course, like many playbooks on the kind of tools that we recommend, but when they're working with clients in different countries, there's different opportunities, different expectations of the skills they have and the tools they have. So what we do in a talent marketplace like ours is we take out all that extra burden of having to find your own clients, having to run your payroll, things like that. And so when we do that, our talent then can really just focus on the thing that they're truly passionate about and truly skilled at, which is that design and creative work. And so I think when you take out a lot of those like standard workplace burdens, if you will, the talent then are able to really like thrive in the thing that they're most skilled at. And so that's where I think creativity can really flourish.
Mm-hmm. I believe that in the way our companies work, these allow us to be like democratizing the access to explore your talent, to access to designers that I need to work with. So what do you think are the keys for companies as the ones we represent to impulse or to boost this kind of way to work worldwide and arriving to people that in other conditions may never reach to these kind of contents or solutions?
Yeah, I think something very interesting happened in the last 10 years, which is the biggest headaches that CIOs had maybe 15 years, 20 years back was, I'm buying this software, and how do I get people to adapt this software to unleash that creativity, right? That changed, that has subsequently changed in the past 15, 10 years with a product-led growth motion. As you know, people are taking the software experience into their own hands, and they're choosing the tools that they use. So when it comes to unleashing that talent, people feel a little bit more independent, and they feel a little bit more free to select the tools that they use, how they operate, and how they like to work. And that's mostly due because before 20, 30, 40 years ago, the first software experience that people had was at work. Now the first software experience that people have is in their personal lives. Mm-hmm. That's where tools like Slack all of a sudden became very popular, because people did not want to use the internal intranet or the internal messaging system that they had, and people started using Slack. Or how tools like Canva as well became very popular. One of my favorite conversations with my clients is I go to their CIO and say, hey, do you know how many people are using Canva in their company? And it just blows their mind. They have no idea about it. And we tell them we have thousands of people that are using Canva, and you don't know about these guys. So let's get them all on one account. These are people, as you say, they're free to create their own content. They're free to work in ways that are very natural to them. And I actually think that's a very good thing. That the expectation at work is that you have a suite of tools out there that you can use that are going to enable you to do your best work. And that's something that we should really cherish, that we have right now.
Yeah. What about you, Margot?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about democratizing tech from our side too, like again, I'm going to always come at this from a slightly different angle, but in the fact that we have talent in over 80 countries, and many of them in countries where there's a ton of amazing, talented people, but there's not necessarily always amazing job opportunities and companies in their city or in their remote or rural area or even maybe in their country. So with TopTal, they're able to leverage that and get access to really amazing clients. We have great startup clients, but we also have many amazing Fortune 500 companies and large organizations that they wouldn't have access to in their home countries. So when we talk democratizing like talent's access to that, I think that's a really exciting piece that that marketplaces like ours can offer to talent. And again, like it allows them to be working on these skills and showcasing themselves across the board, much like your platform can do for people, right? Because they can showcase their skills like and use a tool that is becoming so popular that then, in your example of Slack is a great one too, if tools like that become so widely used, then when they pick up from one country and go work for one of our clients in, say the US or the UK, where they're using the Slack tool, they already have those skills because those tools are so broad and widespread now.
Yeah. In our case, it's kind of very similar approach. For us, for instance, in the last years, we're seeing an explosion of users and new creators coming from the from Latin American countries. And it's very relevant for us because we believe that at the end of the day, we're giving the opportunity to some countries where they have less access to work in big companies, or they have less opportunities to work internationally because of the many reasons, politics, borders, taxes, whatever. So one of the things that we found that we are doing is that we are like allowing the access to each person in the world with the only requirement for them to be connected to a Wi-Fi connections, to be having the market, all the world as their own market, because they have the opportunity to distribute their content, to talk to their audiences wherever. And we also help them as well to localize part of the copy they need to use or whatever, in order to be also aware of how in different countries they can allocate in a more localized way to sell or to do the speech or whatever. No? So I think it's very nice.
Miriam, I'll add to that too. When we talk about democratizing like talent and tech, I think like a piece of it, it's not our main focus today, but when we look at like different populations, even so, I'm very passionate about women in tech.
Yeah.
And I heard a really great story from one of the talent in our network a little while ago. She was saying that in this like future of work that we live in, where she's able to be remote and working from home, which of course, very hot topic in the last few years, she was explaining to me that in the workplace, she often was put into this position of being the woman in tech. She was a developer, and she had designers on her team, and there was, in that big team of designers and developers, there were 2 women. And so she was in this position all the time of like being brought to the table for being the woman and things like that. And this democratization angle is that she was telling me when she was in this remote work from home environment, she could raise her hand when she wanted to play that role, but wasn't always finding herself like in the office situation, like forced into that position. And so then she could focus more of her time on the passion she had for her work, the creativity she was putting into her work, and not kind of this extra burden that she found she had when she was in that all-male environment in person. So I think this like concept of future of work and how we're working all over the place and remote, it also is giving different populations, in this case, in my example, women, that ability to thrive a little bit more.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. Let me bring out a different topic, a soft one. What do you believe about artificial intelligence? Do you think this is a boost for the talent, or is probably something like speeding up the probability of boosting it?
I'll let you start with this.
I mean, we can't not talk about AI in any panel right now, I think, right? So, of course, I mean, am I using it to create content, which is our topic today about content creation? Sure, like I'm updating my LinkedIn posts sometimes using AI to make them even stronger. But, there's still a big, like when it comes to imagery and things like that, still a lot of copyright issues there, right? Like you can't really copyright a lot of it, so you could create something amazing and run into that issue. But I mean, I can say for us at TopTal, we're certainly embracing it. Like as a very future-forward-looking company, we are encouraging our teams to use it. It's not, you're not going to get in trouble if we catch you using AI. Like it's in fact quite the opposite. So we're finding ways to employ it, and we really do see it as a transformative tool and a really good opportunity for the future of work. Of course, always with the caveat of monitoring and watching, because right now there's still a lot of questions.
Yeah. What about Canva, Jorge?
Yeah. One very interesting stat that I read yesterday was that there's more content created through AI in 1 hour than what was created in the 20th century, right?
Whoa.
So what that's going to do is it obviously opens up the ability to just create a huge proliferation of content. That can be text, it can be imagery, it can be many things. I think the people that will harness AI and use it in a way that really flourishes their talent are going to benefit from it. Let me give you a very concrete example. One thing that we started developing at Canva is you can drop an Excel in a presentation and say, give me a 15-slide presentation based on this data, and it will just develop it for you, right? Pretty basic, and then you can use our integration with OpenAI ChatGPT and say, expand on these 2 or 3 topics, right? So for somebody that is not a designer, that doesn't have access to a design team, or that uses an external agency, all of a sudden they're saving a lot of time, they're saving a lot of man hours, and they're saving all the money that they're spending with design agencies for something that they're able to develop in 5 minutes, right? So our stance is that if you use AI and you're using it to enhance the work that you do, not replace the work that you do, it's going to make you better professionally. So ultimately, it's a tool that we're at the infancy of what it's going to look like, but right now it is saving a lot of man hours. It is saving a lot of time, and it's making people better designers, I think.
Okay. We in Hotmart, we are also in the middle. We just launched an AI solution for the creators who are uploading an online course. It's mostly a place where you can choose what topic are you going to talk about, and it will select what are the more appropriate modules in order to expose that content. It will be taking into account what other courses on the same niche are distributing, are providing, and it will help the creator to have an idea of the structure of how the learning he wants to share should be done in a very didactical way. Yeah. Still, we believe, and this is also a question I'm very, from time to time, many times they ask me, why will anybody pay for an online course if the content is already in YouTube and whatever? So it's free in YouTube or in Instagram or whatever. But at the end of the day, there is and this will not change with the AI. There is a voluntary, there is a will behind in order to put the content in order, explain it in a very didactical way. So when you go to YouTube or whatever, you are going to be just consuming the content without any structure, but just depending on the views or on the placement you will receive. But there's something we will never be able to substitute with AI, which is what do you want to communicate? What you want the other person to learn, and in which way? So we're going to be developing solutions to help this road to be easier, but still we believe that in the talent of the communication, whatever, there are some things that cannot be substituted from my point of view, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, with the proliferation of content, I think it kind of equalizes the bar for everybody, but there is going to be standouts, right? And actually a segue to a question I wanted to ask you as a community leader. part of what I've seen this year in creating community is that you are able to surface a lot of those standouts. And I'd be very curious how you think about community and what's your take on bringing community to a product or a region or.
Yeah, of course. I mean, thank you, Jorge, because of course I like talking about community as it is my full-time day job. But I mean, I think we can think of community in like a very simple sentence, which is that no one is growing in a silo, right? And so when we think about community in these ways, like even just the tip that you just gave of, hey, take your Excel sheet and do this, you're not going to find that if you're not communicating with other peers in the industry or peers who are enjoying the same topics as you are. And so growing and leveraging communities is a really important way for people to continue to kind of grow and leverage these tools that exist out there, right? So, you know, as an example with TopTal, we have over 10,000 talent that are in our network, and they're all in a Slack community that we have. So, you mentioned that tool earlier. And so we are encouraging them to connect over whatever topic they're most interested in. So if that right now is AI, or if that's 3D printing, or if that's using Canva or a tool like that, we'll have all these different channels where they can go do that. And we help them find each other in those channels, and they might be from all over the world. So what might be like a trending topic on how we're using AI in one area, or a trending topic on how we're using a certain design tool in one area, may not be the same in another country. And that's what's so cool about building a community, is that those two people who are super experts in 3D printing or super experts in Canva can come together in that channel and really like grow off of each other. I think I would encourage anyone here who's watching this panel thinking like, how do I continue to grow my skills? Literally just Google like community and then whatever the tool is that you really love. I know you guys have an amazing community. And so you could literally Google Canva and community. I'm just plugging you here a lot. But like TopTal, our community is private. You can't get into it unless you're in our network. But anything, like if you use Jira all the time, like go Jira community, like Atlassian, whatever, and you'll find a separate page often from their same web page, and that's where their community lives. They might invite you to a Slack group, or they might have kind of an intranet type thing they use, and there's going to be a wealth of information there that you can find, like Q&A, upvoted, product improvements, all these kind of things. And it's such a great resource to continue to evolve and grow. And again, like we're not growing without being around other people. That's why people come to these events even, right? But online communities everywhere are, highly recommended, of course, from my biased opinion.
Good. So people, it's 1 minute left. Maybe each of us, we want to share a final message about talent and how to unleash the potential of the talent. You start?
Yeah. No, I want to latch onto the idea that you mentioned around community. I mean, the philosophy around building community that I've always seen is that there's whoever you meet, they do something better than anybody else, right? And I think when you get those people together, and you share that knowledge, you kind of unload that data and that knowledge, and you pass it to somebody who is able to fix two things together, right? There's a company that I saw recently called Gadex, and what they do is they actually get people physically in a place within a company to build that community. And I think part of unleashing that talent is getting people together in an environment where they generally do not have the ability to work together, and help them work in a different way that they've ever done before.
Absolutely. So.
I mean, well said, and I had my opportunity to kind of talk about community. Miriam, I know we're right at the end. So.
No, well, it's just wrapping the same, exactly. It's just that ask to everybody to trust in their knowledge and to look for the communities or the solutions that will help them to unleash this creativeness and this talent. So I think that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.